Hey guys, this is Billy Bray. Welcome to this edition of Insurance Answers. So, today we're going to be talking about efficiency and how to be efficient with your commercial insurance program at your company. Now, we all know what efficiency does. Efficiency allows you to save time, to save money, and to save energy. Three crucial things in any business, especially yours. So what we're going to talk today about is basically how to streamline and consolidate your commercial insurance program. And we do that in three ways. You can do it by streamlining your policies, streamlining your insurance carriers, and streamlining your brokers. We're going to be talking about all three today. So to start with, you've got a bunch of insurance policies. General liability, workers' comp, auto insurance, flood insurance, E&O, D&O, this liability, that liability, an umbrella to go all over it, and 5 or 10 more policies that you really could buy, but it just depends on what your risk tolerance is. So when you have all of these different policies, how do you make those efficient? Well, the one way to do this is to get a broker to review your insurance program and basically give you feedback on what can you do to restructure this. Now, that's what I do with my clients a lot of times is evaluate their current situation, determine how to restructure to save that time, money, energy, completely consolidate, completely streamline to give you a user-friendly program that saves time, saves money, and saves energy. Now, the way that we do that is essentially going through an insurance review, which will require you to gather some information. It's not too labor intensive, but you will need your insurance policies. What I determine is if you're a real estate investor or if you've grown your business, if your business hasn't been the same size for an extended amount of time and you do continue to grow, a lot of times you'll add policies. I always give this example with my real estate investor clients. It's like, look, you buy a property, you place insurance. You buy another property, you place insurance. And you do that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, a couple dozen times, you've got a problem on your hands. I call it the bird nest effect. In essence, a lot of times you'll buy from a different broker. A lot of times you'll buy from a different insurance carrier, the one that actually underwrites the insurance. And a lot of times they're going to be on different dates. Almost all the time, they'll be on different dates. So if you buy a property in February, then you buy one in May, then you buy one in November, and you do that for a couple of years over and over, you're really going to end up with a pretty fragmented program. Now, it's not your fault. That's the way your business operates. Let's say you're a manufacturer. Let's say you're either a startup or you're just getting your first bits of revenue. Well, you're going to need some certain policies. You'll need general liability. You probably have some property. Maybe it's just computers and desks and tables and chairs. If you lease the premises, well, eventually you grow up and you have employees, okay? Well, I need to cover them for workers' comp. Well, the next thing I need to do is I buy my building. Well, now I need to ensure the outside structure of the building. And you see the way that this continues to grow and evolve. It's really pretty rudimentary the way that a business evolves, but we have this common dilemma where, well, at least my building to start with, so I had one insurance policy to cover that. Then I got some sales, or then I got some employees, in whatever order this takes place in. And then I bought the building. Then I got a new contract, and it had different requirements than the contracts that I had had before. And along this way, you may experience a claim or a couple of claims, and that can shift the focus of how you structure your policies, deductibles, the entire program itself. So what I want to help you with is to reduce the number of policies that you've got. A lot of times, one policy can cover multiple lines of insurance. Not every time, and sometimes you want 2 or 3 policies, but you don't need a ton of different policies in most cases. Now, if you've got a very complex, you're an upper middle market company, Fortune 1000 company, it gets a lot more complicated, especially depending on the class of business and where you're located geographically. I can help with that too, but let's try to whittle this down to the very basic level of the policies. A good broker would essentially help you do that. Now, I remember one example. I had a prospective client. They had 8 insurance carriers. I think they ended up with 2 or 3. Okay, it's better than 8. And sometimes you want those separated. Some companies are great at workers' comp, but they don't do auto. And there's different examples like that. So that can be a combination of your policies and your carriers. Now, the second component is the carrier. The carrier is the underwriting company. They're the company that actually pays the claims when you have the insurance problem. And they're the ones that price this all as well. A broker is going to help you negotiate it, but really they'll be the one, they're the backbone of your insurance program, but they don't give advice. So that's where the brokers come in to really help out as well. So the policy is written by the carrier. So the first part was consolidating the policies. The second component is consolidating the carrier, which writes the policy. Okay, so trying to stay with me there. But when you have a carrier, for example, that writes your underlying general liability, but they don't write your umbrella that sits on top of the general liability, we've got a problem. What if that carrier that writes the umbrella doesn't know that the general liability is written the way that it does? In the event of a claim, you could have disputes between these two, and it could go on and drag on and cost a lot of money in legal fees. And the worst case scenario would be getting having an unpaid claim, or having the claim not pay out what it should have, or not protect you, or not indemnify you for your legal fees, or not help you the way that you intended when you spent a lot of money on a GL and an umbrella policy. That's one issue. Another issue that leads me to my third point is consolidating your brokers. Okay, if you have more than one broker for any rhyme or reason, I suggest that it's time to address why. Now, if you have a good reason for that, I understand. You may want to reconsider what your reasoning for that is, though. If it was just, hey, this person was on Google when I searched for workers' comp, and this person was on Google when I searched for commercial auto liability, you may want to readdress that, because it can lead to an issue. Here's the example that I alluded to, and I see this a lot. I see this a lot in the oil field service companies that I insure, and the businesses that have fleets. This is not uncommon, okay? I'll give you an example that I ran into recently. I had a prospective client. They had broker A that had their workers' comp, because one year he was cheaper than broker B. And so you've got a workers' comp broker, and you've got a broker that's got the rest of the business. Now, I would argue, why doesn't the broker that's got all your business step it up on the workers' comp to help you consolidate for your benefit, for the timing, for the energy, and for the monetary gain there? Here's the real big issue. If you have broker B has your auto, he's got your property, general liability, and whatever else you may carry, property, flood, and broker A over here only has your umbrella. The policies that this broker places and the policy that this broker has, they don't talk to each other. When the policies don't talk to each other, they may not correspond. What I mean by that is this. If the umbrella is pierced, meaning that you have an auto accident that goes over your underlying limits, liability claim that goes over your underlying limits, and it pierces this umbrella over here, this umbrella carrier may choose to exercise their right to not pay the claim because of the language in these policies with broker B over here. It doesn't make sense to have that separation, because it can cause a lot of problems when it comes time for claims. That could mean you paying money out of your pocket for a claim that you really thought that you had insurance to start with. I ran into this with, this was a vacuum truck company, and they're out of East Texas, and they're running to and from the oil field. They had this same example that I just explained. The umbrella over here covered all their insurance over here, but their workers' comp. Think about that. Their liability is covered for everything but their workers' comp. That means they're not insuring their employees, the way that they could or should be. I didn't like that. I asked for the client to sign a broker of record letter so I could fix that for them. They agreed after some dialogue and some conversation. I was able to go to that carrier. I was able to go to the umbrella carrier and say, hey, Texas Mutual is the comp care. Let's see, how'd that go? It was the umbrella didn't sit over the workers' comp. So I went to the comp carrier and I went to the umbrella carrier and said, look, we've got two brokers. Here's the scenario. We need to get this to work together so that way the company can have the adequate insurance. They both said, oh, well, we didn't know that's what was going on because there was two brokers that frankly are in competition with each other in the marketplace. They didn't talk together. They didn't work together. The client's being underserved. I was able to bring both the carriers together at no additional premium, get that $10 million umbrella to sit over the workers' comp so the company is properly insured, the employees are properly insured. It didn't cost the business owner a dime, and that was able to really help them dramatically. So what we did just here today is we looked at how do you reduce how do you consolidate and streamline your policies, how do you consolidate and streamline your carriers, how do you consolidate and streamline your brokers. If there's a lack of clarity on how to consolidate and streamline the brokers, in my book, the book on insurance, I talk about how to find a good broker. And that's looking at the risk and insurance, power brokers, the rising stars. You can look at business insurance, 40 under 40s. I wouldn't go to Google and just type in workers' comp, Houston, Texas, or who's the best or who's the cheapest. And I wouldn't run the Google search. What you'll find in a Google search is the best marketed or the best advertised, not necessarily the highest quality. I would caution you when looking through that. My name is Billy Bray, the proud author of the book on insurance. I'll be coming to you live, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.